I'm Megan Skidmore. For 2.5 years, I have been talking about evolving faith journeys. I started to tire of the heaviness of this focus. I had the clear message come through. It is time for Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast to evolve into Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. With the same vulnerability and unapologetic authenticity, I will be focusing on the joy in this journey, the life and the living that comes on the other side of maybe, on the other side of what's possible. I want to talk about claiming spiritual sovereignty and becoming your own captain of your vessel. Let's celebrate releasing what no longer aligns for you and connecting with your higher power and honor expanding your energy field to make room for all things new. All right, here we go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt. I am honored to have one of my dearest friends, and it's only been this year, really,
Yeah,
which
we just
seems
met.
kind of
It
crazy to say.
feels like we've known each other for a much longer time.
It does. Diana, you and I have been in certification together this year with
Yes.
Sarah
Yes.
Trapkus in
Yep.
Emotional Alchemy.
Yep.
And what a journey that has
Yes.
been for both of us.
Yes. I think in very different ways. I
Mm-hmm.
had been coached by Sarah one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
and was really part of her work as she became the I'm going to teach this and certify coaches. So I came from such an understanding of the work, but only from experiencing it. Being trained to facilitate it was very different. And I'm so thankful for being in a group like we were in and being with you and meeting
Mm-hmm.
you. It's been a real privilege.
Yeah, and I don't know how it is for you because, like you said, for different reasons, it was
Hmm.
really a wonderful experience and quite the experience. But for me, I found it's been instrumental in my own personal journey as I have reimagined or learned to get to know my own spirituality on a different level, a different way, engaging with it in different ways, and it's been it's been like this huge opening of a new almost portal or something like that.
I feel that way too. And
Do
I
you?
was experiencing it in my own healing and my own transformation, leaving my marriage. And um, it's like I knew I was being held in a different way, and I knew I was starting to navigate my emotional experience very differently. But that was all being done like almost subconsciously while I was
Mm-hmm.
working with Sarah, and to be able to step out and be able to understand how to facilitate it for others has been a real gift. And I think that had started opening up a spiritual portal for me too, like
Absolutely.
trusting myself differently and just seeing myself differently
Yeah.
after investing the time we did.
Right. And also learning how to I think it by extension helped me to on a new level honor others and where they're at and in their
Oh,
journey. And it's just
yeah,
it's been so good for so many reasons.
yeah.
Anyway, we're here to talk about you, so we'll shift into that direction. Thank you so much for taking my invitation to be here today.
Yeah.
I want to give you a chance to just introduce yourself to our listeners, share with them about you, your background, where you come from, the things that you would consider kind of your origin story, your
Yeah.
faith, family, your interest, your profession, kind of how you've gotten to where you're at today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was raised in a waspy neighborhood in the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
I've heard that term before. What
Yeah.
is WASP?
White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And it was even the only different people in my neighborhood at the time were Catholic.
Okay.
And there's a Catholic school and then the public school. and
Okay.
I didn't understand, like, so in frame of reference of what we're talking about today, I remember having to learn and understand more about the Catholic faith through the practices of my neighbors.
Okay.
And so that was,
Interesting.
yeah, that was my grade school years. I moved into another suburb, was more spread out in the northwest suburbs, and just, was raised in Protestant church. My mom, I knew there were different times in our lives that mom felt it was really important to get us to church.
Mhm.
And one of those seasons was when I was in middle school. And this was really because of my age, this was when the evangelical church was really calling it the Jesus movement. And there were
Tell me
big
what that
ton
tell us what that means. I
Yeah,
don't know if
so
I know
there were
exactly.
big it was the beginning of some of the evangelical stuff, and I was in a smaller church, and we were doing concerts and worship things and youth group, and we had a very loosely held, um, just church kind of experience, but we were being invited to these big events, and it would be big concerts and then altar calls, and a lot of focus in youth group was whether you had accepted Christ as Savior or not. And um, I don't remember in that season a lot of teachings about my behavior, which is really interesting looking back. That came more when I was in Bible study in the Bible Belt in the South. So I'm in Atlanta now, raised in Chicago, great set of parents, have a brother, went to school in Colorado and met the man I married, and we married right after college. And we both were very focused on our careers, both salespeople, and moved to New York City out of his preference. And then eventually I had two boys, and we moved to the Midwest to be a part of the Gallup organization. And so we were in the Midwest again,
Really?
very white, and traveling a lot. My ex-husband my husband at the time was traveling a lot, but we were in a very conservative, like Midwestern Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay.
But we had our boys there, and then we're able to move. We opened an office for the company in Atlanta, and I became a stay-at-home mom when my oldest was 1, and did stay
Okay.
home just due to the travel weight. But really had a thriving career as a manager there, and decided to step aside, and just for my own well-being, because I knew I couldn't handle more of a load of labor.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
lucky that we were able to do that.
So when you say you were part of the Gallup Association, are you talking about the polling
Yeah, so the
company?
Gallup organization
Wow, you
was
were part of that.
we were part of a company called Selection Research that was founded by Don Clifton in Lincoln,
Hmm.
and his son, Jim Clifton, started the market research division. So there was
Okay.
more of a selection or employment division, and then there was the market research, and now it's merged. And StrengthsFinder was created, and some of the other consulting work.
Oh, you were part of that.
I was 2 desks away from Don Clifton, and I managed the in-depth interviewing
Wow.
center. We were doing the 2 to 3-hour research interviews, as they were combining all the data that they had from doing a lot of selection work. And I loved that work. That was the seeds of wanting to become a coach really happened in Gallup. And
Cool.
yeah,
What a great background.
so my husband at the time became head of worldwide sales for the company. So it was a bit he had a very big job that demanded a lot of
Mhm.
us as a
Mhm.
family. But I love I have fond memories of being honored because they understood my strengths. So that it was a cool season in that
That
sense.
is way cool.
Yeah, because
How
they
fun.
lived what they were consulting
I'm sure they
around
did.
strengths.
I'm
Yeah,
sure that I don't know if corporate environment is a accurate description, but just the culture, the
yeah,
work culture at least
yeah.
was
The culture
very
did
um
gear toward that, but it was
more
very
healthy, maybe.
but it was workaholic. It was, I
Okay.
think what I can in frame of reference, it was, like a startup company, and so we were in massive growth all the time. That's just how we rolled. So
Okay.
part-time, I used to fondly say part-time was 40 hours and full-time was like your whole life. Like it just
Mhm.
was that
Mhm.
way. And the type of jobs I would want were felt that way. And so it was healthy for me to step aside. I worked part-time for a while and I stepped aside.
So from a younger age, you were in
Yeah.
tune with your needs, with what you needed to
Yes.
honor about
I
you. That's good.
I knew and I fought for it. My job felt like security because his was all commission. He was in sales
Mhm.
only at the beginning. And I knew that was best for also the kids we were going to be raising.
Mhm. So enlighten us how kind of the side of you went to college, you met your husband, you got married shortly after finishing university. You both had good jobs.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
eventually moved to Atlanta. You did
Yeah.
what was best for you and your needs, your
Yeah.
energies, and moved to being a stay-at-home mom. Although you had the seed planted
Yeah.
of wanting of coaching. You knew,
Yes.
it sounds
Yeah.
like for a while that that was going to be part of your life. Tell me about your your spiritual slash religious
Yeah.
journey as it was intertwined for you at
It's
this
so
point.
fascinating. We had a very Christian wedding by the pastor and in the church where I had been practicing as a youth, very involved in the choir and all those things. And my family was still very involved at the time. And I remember being married and knowing that that wasn't really the lifestyle, the going to church or whatever of my husband. And I remember being sheepish about having my mom send my spiritual books. I had some C.S. Lewis books, I had some other things. And I do really remember tamping that down and realizing that that was not going to be something I could practice.
And that was early on in your marriage.
Yeah, and I did, and I tamped it
Okay.
down myself in college, and then I had this, like, desire to start investigating, and I knew it wasn't okay. Like, I just knew it wasn't part of what it just felt safer to not pursue it anymore.
So tell me what that looked like in real life. You say you tamped it down. Did you pull away from your faith community? Did you verbalize these things out loud? Did you and your husband decide together? Like,
It was no more like I think I made a few mentions, and
mm-hmm,
it was clearly not the direction he wanted to go. And so I had left it during college, and so this was like this like consideration, and then decided that that I was okay without it and didn't have a faith
okay,
community. When I went home, I would go to church with my parents. And it really wasn't until my second son was 2 that I started having a desire to dive back into faith, and that was through being in Atlanta through an
mm-hmm,
organized Bible study that, was non-denominational, and I got very, very involved. Just
okay.
dug into scripture, I became a Bible study leader, I loved it, I even started my own Bible study when the kids were in high school, for moms in my
Mm-hmm.
community, and so it became a very big part of my life during that season.
So in a sense, you kind of untamped part of it.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
were specific about what you reinvited
Yeah,
back
and it
into your
was a
space.
yeah, and it was I remember the moment in the way that, evangelical Christianity, it was like I almost, like, accepted Jesus again and said I would never go back, and just doubled
Never
down on that part of the faith
never
journey
go back
to leaving
where.
it to leaving it, leaving
Okay.
him. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So tell us about the process of you were realizing that your I don't know, the recipe that you were
Mhm.
handed
Yeah.
by virtue of your where the family, the
Mhm.
environment you were born into, that was it was given to you. Like, how did you give yourself that permission? Like, tell us about that
Yeah, it's
process of how
so
you knew that this is just not for me the way that it is now, and then fast forward to how you
Brought it back in.
yeah.
It was interesting. I was with a friend that we were workout buddies, and our kids, I think, were in school,
Mhm.
same preschool. And I was really complaining about the situation with my mother-in-law. And that was a toxic, like looking back, that was a toxic, there were some dynamics that were real. And she recommended that I attend Bible study. And after experiencing worship and the lesson and everything, I was like, oh, I'm back. I'm like, this is what I need. And I
Mm.
started listening to Christian music again, and I couldn't wait to lay down on I remember kind of watching TV in the background and laying down and doing these in-depth Bible study lessons with historical context and understanding, and then hearing application and being with other women that were talking about this. So I felt very at
Mhm.
home and very and
Mhm.
I really thought my husband at the time would just come along. Like, I bought him a Bible, I left it on his pillow and thought and I really freaked him out. And
What part do you think, quote, "freaked him out"?
Mm. Well, I think knowing the truth now,
You
um
have the benefit of
right, I have the
hindsight
benefit of
right now,
history,
but
so I have more understanding looking back, but at the time, I felt like this was something that was very much a part of me, and I wanted to share it and have conversations around it.
mhm. Mhm.
And I was kind of ashamed or, like, embarrassed and hurt that he was so reactive because I knew he had been raised with a in faith, and I but I think the way you're taught in the church too, that like there was such a feeling like I was right and I just needed to wait till he came along. And I spent a lot of Bible study conversations around waiting for him or why wasn't he in faith or
Mhm.
it was
Mhm.
all with this objectifying him, which I can't
Mhm.
imagine that energy in a marriage.
So your
um,
focus was at times really, about what he wasn't doing that
yeah,
you were
yeah,
wishing that he would do.
yeah.
I'm asking you these questions because I think that scenario is very applicable. I I've talked to a lot of people. I read a lot. You know, in the coaching community, you are part of various communities, whether that's for a
Mhm.
conference that could be a single day, it could be a week. Sometimes there's events that extend beyond that. There's connection beyond that. And in my experience, I see a huge awakening going on, especially for women whose role has been defined in a certain way for them for for decades, centuries, really. Every first Friday of the month, I offer a free coaching hour. Anyone is welcome to join, and you may leave your camera off and change your name if you would like to remain anonymous. This is an opportunity to get introduced to my style of holistic coaching and gain real skills, insight relevant to you, and fresh perspective on life circumstances. For those attending, there will be opportunities for a complimentary one-off energy alignment session. Register at the link in the show notes. And so I know that there are listeners out there that are at some point, maybe in their journey, experiencing what you have along the way early on in your marriage, where you decided this isn't resonating
Yeah.
and I'm going to tamp this away for now. But then coming to a point where you wanted to reinvite it because you felt something was was missing.
Yeah,
I think you
that's
said
accurate. Yeah, that resonates.
to something to that
Mhm.
effect. But then also realizing your husband wasn't going to move in that direction. So, in some ways, tell me if this lands, you were kind of in a mixed faith marriage,
Yes, very much so, and
and that's a
not
challenge.
realizing it would be, such a challenge and felt
Mhm.
so strongly and felt so edified in the faith community and experience that I knew it was something I wasn't willing to give up. I learned so much, um and had so many seasons of times of feeling very lonely in it, and then others at
Mhm.
peace and just letting, and it was always the goal though to be the best wife I could, and so a lot
Mhm.
of that was the way that my role was seen in church, especially, in a more Southern Baptist,
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
and that also helped quiet the difference is because
Mhm.
I followed my faith and just let it be mine
Mhm.
and was very quiet and served him and the kids and kinda doubled down on being a great wife.
Yeah. Which is what we're taught our role is, which is it's just so interesting to be a little older, a little wiser, and to realize things now that I didn't understand then. I'm saying this because I hear you and I've experienced that,
Yeah.
that we really can't control anybody else's
No.
lives.
No.
We can we
And
can do everything that we were told to do, but that still would not ultimately have an effect on their happiness or unhappiness, even though they
yeah.
may correlate it to
And
that.
yeah, and I
And
think
that
I
was a
doubled
big
down on the
awakening.
role of wife to make to be the good girl, to like, I doubled down on that and let the fuel of that I was doing the right thing faith-wise, and, when you think of humility and servant leadership and so many of the things I was taught, um, but I felt a lot of shame that I was the single one, like, the single woman faith-wise in church. There's not a place for me in
So
community.
interesting to hear you talk because although our specific religion, the
Mhm.
religious groups that we both come from are different, there's so much overlap in what you're sharing. I
Yeah,
can relate
it
so
makes sense.
much.
Yeah.
Um, so let's let's fast forward
Okay.
to today, present day. And when I say that, that can include some of the things that you've been involved in, in recent years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, Diana, that has taken all of her past selves, said,
Yes.
thank you, thank you, thank you
Yeah.
for all that you
Yeah.
have done for me, been there for me, learned, taught me, etc., etc. And now I've got you. I'm in charge. I'm taking the reins and we're going to do life the way that feels truly, truly in alignment.
And it's been a wild journey.
Tell us about
Fill in the
that.
gaps a little.
Yeah.
The I continued in leadership and even starting a Bible study to support moms in my kids' school, and I ran that for
Well,
7 years.
were they in a private school?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I
and
was like, how did they allow that?
they
Okay.
even advertised my Bible study, and that's how I met some of the most dear friends that I ended
Okay.
up going through. So we were a support system through faith, but then we'd see each other at this large school and at different events, and it became a very sweet, sweet community for me.
Good.
And you know, that was when there was I'm not saying that, like, my husband gave me permission, but it was always done with respect. We got to a place where it was done with respect, that this is Diana's thing, isn't it wonderful
Hmm.
what she's doing? When he saw the friendships I was making and the type of people in my life, he was actually more pro it. Like, "Isn't it amazing what Diana's doing and all these friends?" And I was like,
Hmm.
"What?" Like, I was starting to feel a full circle of support. After that, my kids left that school and I did church different. I was starting to navigate what church I would go to and doing different things more inside church
Hmm.
community. And I started at a book club. And so that's how I created that social extension of what I was experiencing in faith. I mentored women and young women, and that was part of my coaching energy too, and mama energy. And so I was able to coach women through a year program of Bible study, but deep support. And that was while I was learning to be a coach. And so I found coaching in 2013, 14.
Huh.
And as my kids empty nested, that became my next. And I
Okay.
loved business building. So that part of it, like, was I'd been a salesperson, I'd had this business mind, I'd put it on hold. Again, some things that we put on hold and bring back to life. And so I became a
Mhm.
coach as the kids left school, and I had my church community that was kind of separate over here and was just a mentor instead of leading something as a group. And then I was a coach and building my practice.
Mhm. So you started it about 12 years ago.
Yes, I'm almost at 12 years coach.
Wow.
Many different versions of the type of coaching I did. I started
So
with weight
cool.
loss and moved really quickly into mindset and have always been supporting type A, very high capacity leaders
Mhm.
as they navigate tough stuff. That's kind of my new space.
That's good. That's really good. I'm sure you are faced with helping them, perhaps yourself, balance the masculine and the feminine energies because so much of, well, I'll just say generally, the business world has
Yes.
a primarily masculine energy
Hmm.
focus, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's a thing, but it hasn't necessarily been available or uh, accepted, I guess, to
Hmm.
introduce the feminine energy, which is so important and so needed.
And that is a lot of the work that I ended up doing. Now, in retrospect, it was helping a lot of corporate women that were in the vice grip of a tough manager or
Hmm.
being very, like, in a very male dominant industry.
Hmm.
And it worked until it didn't, and then wanted coaching. And so a lot of the work, if bottom line, it was really helping them to understand what was toxic masculinity, but also honor. Again, like, even in my own healing journey, it was honoring that I knew some things were deeply wrong in my marriage, and I started
Hmm.
didn't know how to really honor that intuition as well as I do now.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
So fascinating um, to see the different ways we navigate. First, hearing, allowing that beautiful inner voice to
Mhm.
surface. Sometimes, without realizing it, we're tamping that down.
Yes.
um, but it can vary, I guess,
Yeah.
depending on if it's what relationship it is. It
Yeah.
sounds like it was a little bit easier for you to do so with your religious or slash faith
Mhm.
journey, a little bit different with your marriage relationship. I personally, tell me your experience, but I personally have found that as I have given myself full permission, and that means stepping into that as close to 100% alignment. There's never 100%
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I will admit that right now, but to begin to catch yourself when you feel yourself going to that tamping down
Yeah.
place of your voice, of your wisdom, of what you feel called to do or say or
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
or who to be, the more that I do not do that, but instead I embrace it and I listen to it and I act on it, I have found some of the deepest joys and moments of great bliss. And I've found there's just so much life on the other side of stepping into those places of great unknown that can be really scary in the beginning, especially.
Yeah,
So share with us that
yeah,
part.
so
That's the
even the
good stuff.
journey of being a very masculine driven business owner, which created a beautiful container for my business. In the
Mhm.
last few years, as I've doubled down on doing my business my way and being much more in alignment with the type of coaching I'm doing, I have been in communities where, and I'm writing about this right now, where it's mindset at the cost of everything else. And I love mindset work. It's a place, it's a window, it's a beginning with a lot of my clients to help them to understand. But as I navigated an entire and identity shift of leaving a 40-year marriage and really deciding what I was about. It all came from really honoring my knowing at a way that I had to disregard for the last 10 years of my marriage. I really had to disregard um
Can
my
you
own
think
well-being.
Uh-huh. Can you think Thank you so much for sharing that. Can you think of a specific time when you just had to honor your knowing, as you say? And when you say knowing, I'm putting a capital K there.
Oh, I think it was happening at the end of the marriage that I knew something I was getting a lot of hits that something was really wrong and that my husband was really pulling away from me. I had gone through about 10 years of that journey of um, really being confused, doing some therapy with him, and was getting so grounded in my own like well-being and what was mine and what was his that I just started listening to that
Mhm,
voice more. But I think the real practice of it was in the walking out of that marriage because an event brought a lot of truth to the plate that was not of my doing. I do feel like it was divine intervention for both our sakes, and I that was when, Megan, I was able to start really listening to that. I didn't have to protect that anymore because that was my alignment and my path.
mhm.
And so I moved out very quickly. I helped him to sell the house very quickly. I helped him to communicate his story with my kids, and we did that together very face forward. Um, but that was really the beginning of that journey of being able to be freed from that a marriage that was overriding all of my well-being.
Thank you for sharing that. That's, I know you took just a couple minutes to share that, but that represents years of a lot of emotion, a lot of push and pull,
A lot of
um,
striving.
contractions and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
expansion and release and all of that that comes with growth. And that is very brave to just know that you needed to act. And that meant taking steps away
Mhm.
and
Oh,
thanking that relationship for all that it brought and
yeah.
then
Moving.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah, it's time for what's
It's time
next.
for me to go. I am realizing more now that not the business identity, but really the goddess, the more spiritual part of me, I had created quite a shell around my business. And it was still here in this cottage that I bought last year, and which is a space where I love bringing clients in, and I, of course, do my coaching here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that it was still here, and it almost inadvertently, like through the alchemy work and
That's
the
fantastic. I
journeys I've
love
been
that.
doing, and it was preventing an intimacy with my current partner. I did not know why. You'll understand.
Mm,
I didn't know why he didn't feel comfortable here. And there was a definite energetic, like,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
thing, and it was because I still was protecting myself. I protected my business from day one to become the
Mm-hmm.
woman I became that could leave the marriage actually pretty quickly
Mm-hmm.
once I knew the truth. And I had built this gorgeous support system for myself. But then I've had my growing is surrendering and softening and knowing that I can hold my divine feminine, but I also know when a partner's safe,
Mm.
friend's safe to hold my divine feminine.
So what would you say the status of that shell is now?
Oh, I did a alchemy session with Sarah, and I think this will help because the vision is helpful. I felt like my energy was almost like this egg that around me that and my energy, and I visualized pulling a ribbon off like a seal,
Yeah.
and
Like
we
an
put that
unveiling,
ribbon in a
like a ribbon.
pile,
Wow.
and that is still a raw edge. Like, that's what I'm really protecting and honoring right now because and learning to bring in spiritual support. Like asking, I stopped when I left the church because I really left the church as my marriage dissolved. I knew it was not a safe place to navigate our
Mhm.
experience. And it is just fascinating to me how I now, oh, I can ask for support in protecting my energy and protecting this gorgeous work I'm doing with clients, in protecting my heart. And I am surrendering to being held in a relationship that is healthy for me. But I'm also like, I'm holding myself. I'm creating a lifestyle where I can on my knowing is everything and it's fleshy now. It's not, it doesn't need to be protected. It's soft.
My knowing is fleshy right now.
It was
That's
protected
so
by this
beautiful.
icy shield. Like I did my first energy session with Lindsay Pullman because she was doing and is doing betrayal work, and she was in a cohort, and I immediately hired her, and Sarah was my next coach. They both were in my cohort with Karen Gillan,
That's
and I was really
fantastic.
surrounded by what I needed, and I
Lindsay's so good. I did
oh,
her
yes,
trauma-informed
yes,
certification.
yeah, and
So good.
so to have like, I was being held. I
Mm,
had support to do some very brave steps and to be very brave and honest with my kids as they're navigating dynamics of having,
mhm.
more adult relationships with their parents in a separate household.
You've mentioned some really key concepts that I just want to reiterate, honor. You talked about how you have learned, probably are still continuing to, but that you can hold your divine
Mhm.
feminine energy safely, and you are now trusting others to do
Yes, I
that
know
as
when.
well. So the
Yes.
trust, that's such a huge part of any transformative growth process, and also the surrendering.
Um,
Mhm.
was confused by my own protecting my current partner who not even in my head, in my heart, I knew was safe. I have been my full self with him for the 2 years almost 2 years we've been together,
Mhm.
and in a session with Sarah, um, I could see that that was of my own making, that energy field, and it was that realization that I could surrender and let it go. I didn't need it anymore. I understood my purpose for creating it.
Mhm.
I allowed support and help to let it
Mhm.
dissolve and surrender, and saw a deep understanding that he kinda knew what he was signing up for. He's like, "I know," he knows that part of
Mhm.
me.
I think that knowing
Yeah,
and add the trust
yeah,
is what equals surrender. What gets us
yeah,
to that point of,
yeah,
okay, I know enough. I feel grounded. I can release because I can trust whose hands I'm in.
yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
And by
Such a beautiful
releasing,
story.
some of the good girl part and what does a good wife do, and, really allowing through my relationship, right now, like, it was a gorgeous ground for both of us to release the structures and things that that did not serve us any longer. We were
Mm-hmm.
able to look back at our respective marriages, love our family, our kids, and love what we all four of us were great parents. Like it was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good in that season. But to be able to release like and we now are like almost have a bullshit meter, but like, we really have that sensitivity to each other. It's like, really?
That's not
Really?
a bad thing to have.
It's not a bad thing. We can have it with coaches. I mean, Sarah's, like, onto us within a second flash. She knows
Mm-hmm.
us so
Mm-hmm.
well and so sensitive, but
Mm-hmm.
we are both such sensitive creatures, my current partner and I, that we give each other that gift of honoring, that true essence of each other. And I've never had that experience.
I love that you called it a gift because, in fact, that really is what it is. Honoring the true essence. The
Mhm.
divine in me sees the divine
Find in you.
in you. Yeah, love that. Well, uh, my last question that I always love to ask, I love the insights from my guests, is what does it mean to you to live beyond the shadow of doubt?
Um, this deep knowing that my knowing is spot on and is a gorgeous compass, but I don't have to do it by myself. And I can welcome in support and guidance in ways that I think I'm yet to understand. And I
Gorgeous
know
compass.
I have big things to keep doing on this earth, and I welcome what I'm called to do.
I know you do too. I know you do too. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
sharing your heart with us. I just have a few for fun questions I like to
Okay.
throw out. I'm just looking for one, maybe two-word answers just for our listeners to get to know
Just
you
for
a little bit
fun.
better.
Yeah.
Tell us your favorite book or whatever you're reading right now. Favorite book.
Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the author, but she's written Atmosphere. Um, so I'm reading a lot of fiction that helps me go to sleep, but I'm realizing I love watching like the Ted Lassos, the well-developed characters that are humaning. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing the messy middle. So there's
Me
not
too.
one thing, like, I'm really honoring, and I used to be the one that watched I still do, but I used to be the one that watched very violent and police TV and other things. It's very interesting. It's like my little
I would never have guessed that
I
about you.
know.
I never, ever in a million years.
It's just one of those things I think it was a little bit of my dad. He loved that kind of stuff and well
Okay.
written, but that
Okay.
yes. So it's really leaning into, really watching other people humaning and embracing the messiness and the love and the truth.
Love that so, so much. Uh, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Very extrovert. I get so much energy being in community and but I have learned a rhythm that is very introverted looking. And so I have a very like on negotiating cohabitation is going to be interesting because I really love my sacred alone time. And,
I think
that
that's
is really
healthy.
new for an extrovert
Hmm.
that has been in sales and been in yeah, so I'm an extrovert, but I'm understanding a sacred rhythm. That's
I
what it
think
really
that's so
is.
healthy. The older I get,
Yeah.
I think that's for all of us. The more
Mhm.
kind of in love you become with yourself and get to know that
Yes.
divine essence that you really are. I believe a natural occurrence is you you truly crave
Yeah.
that one-on-one time.
My
Is the best
healthiest
way I can think of
it
calling
was
it.
only a few weekends before I met Eric, and it was really learning to date myself. And I've always had done things in reaction. I had a 90% travel I was a travel widow. Like, I knew how to do things by myself. But this was different, and it was that
Fascinating.
beginning of coming home to myself and enjoying
Love
my own
that.
company. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Tell us your favorite artist.
Mm, this one.
Okay. Is
So,
that a family
this is
member?
Blaine, Macaulay. She is the
Okay.
daughter of a realtor that actually helped, me with one transaction, and I had this the first time I had a significant amount of money in my business, I wanted to have a background that was me. And so I commissioned this painting.
So gorgeous.
Yeah,
I've
and I
been
love
admiring
buying
it.
jewelry, and so I don't have one specific, but now I'm honoring in my trying to be minimalist. I am minimalist, but buying jewelry that's art and
Mhm.
not bringing things in the home without it having
Having a
like the right
purpose.
energy or a purpose. Yeah.
I'm trying to do the minimalist thing too.
Yeah.
It's a work in great progress.
Yes.
A great work in progress.
Right.
Okay,
Ah,
tell us, are you a night owl or morning lark?
both. I hate that
That's
about
good.
myself. Oh my God.
No, I think
During the summer, I'm more a night owl and it can catch me. And so
mm,
I'm now putting myself to bed at 10:45
yeah,
and
I
that's
feel
working
that.
best. And so I get up at 5 now. It
I
just,
feel that.
there could be next month, it might be night owl again. It's fine.
Mhm.
I just honor when the rhythm hits. But the long days are a different energy for me.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us your celebrity crush.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey, for sure. For sure.
That's a good one to
Yeah,
have.
it's a good
Do you do
one.
still or carbonated water? Are you a diet soda fan or
Lots of
something
carbonated
else?
water. I am sober 2 years now also, and
Congratulations.
I like spindrift. We're drifties. We will,
That's
like, talk
yummy.
about our weekend and go, "Oh my god, we're filling the recycle bin," and
Hmm.
we'll have had 10 drifties.
There's one flavor that I really love of Spindrift. It's a pink
Oh, pink
can. It's got a little
grapefruit?
green.
There's pink grapefruit, raspberry lemonade,
That's what it
there
is.
it
Yeah,
is,
it's
and
the
I don't even
raspberry
if
one.
it's
It's so
seasonal
good.
or I haven't been able to find it,
Yeah, that
yeah.
one's really good.
Yeah.
And finally, the furthest place you've traveled.
Oh, I've been around the world. I
It sounds like it from
went, on semester at sea
being
as
a
a
widow.
student in 1980, and I left LA and I landed in Baltimore. And
Oh
I
my
went
goodness.
through 100 days, which is a semester with
Hmm.
professors on board and went to school. And that was my junior year, my junior spring.
Holy
And
cow. Did
yeah,
you sail around the southern tip of
we
South
did
America?
Pacific Rim and then cut through the Suez Canal.
Okay.
And we were literally in the Suez Canal when the failed rescue attempt for the Iranian hostages happened. That's how old I
Scary.
am. That was 1980. And then we went
Wow.
through the Mediterranean and then went home. Yeah, it
Can't
was quite
imagine.
that. Without internet, like I called my parents once. I called my parents once and thank God they were home. There wasn't even an answering machine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What an
It was
experience.
wild, yeah, and I did it kind of myself. There were other sorority sisters and people because the campus host was my campus, University of
Hmm.
Colorado at the time. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I did a semester abroad. It was not on sea, it was
Yeah.
on land,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
life-changing.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So tell us about any offers that you might have or folks that have
I always have
questions for you.
workshops, and I if you wanna connect with me,
Hmm.
my website, dianamurphycoaching.com,
Okay. Okay.
and you can sign up for my email list. I call it community. I then invite people into live workshops. I'm doing some this month, but, in timing of the podcast, don't know if those will be available, but I
Yeah.
gather people, Zoom-wise and locally here in Atlanta,
Okay.
and I have very short-term coaching offers and very long-term, and I love both
Okay.
my offers, and I love supporting people that if they read a few paragraphs of my website, they know that they're in the right place, and I would love to
Sweet.
support them.
So it's all at your website. We'll make sure and leave that in the show
Yeah.
notes. Diana, it has been so much fun. Thank you so much for
You are
taking
a
time out of
gift.
your schedule. You
No,
too. You
thank you
too.
for the honoring the questions. I love the direction it went, and I am
Me
glad
too.
if it can be of support to anyone, just email me, Diana at dianamurphycoaching.com.
Yeah,
Want to support other women that are and men. Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No more, no more
Yeah.
us and them. I'm
Yeah.
trying to blur those
I've
and
always been
erase those lines.
50%. My practice has always been 50% male and
That's
female.
good. That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Which I love.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you.
Writer, teacher, author, Mormon scholar, and founder of Dialogue Journal, Eugene England said, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue." As a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, my hope is that Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is an extension of that vision.
Hopeful Spaces is a Dallas Hope Charities component of Hopeful Discussions, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz Financial Services USA. It's a free monthly parent, ally, or caregiver support group facilitated by Megan Skidmore Coaching. Email chc@dallashopecharities.org for more info. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more, or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.